All right. Welcome, everybody. I hope you can see my screen. Today's Drew 2 is a every 2-week discussion. We do 22 minutes on a topic, and this topic is critically important right now. Now, this is just me speaking today, so I don't have a team or anything. You can certainly take yourself off mute if you have a question, but I'm going to leave you on mute just for the ease of me broadcasting, if you don't mind. And we're going to talk about first-time homebuyer programs or down payment assistance programs today. And yes, this is recorded. I do publicize it, and every 2 weeks we do a different topic. So right now, first-time homebuyers are getting all the benefits. They certainly are. I know rates are very different right now than what they were in the past couple of years. But right now, first-time homebuyers have the advantage. So let's get into it if you don't mind. So what exactly is the Drew 2? Well, the Drew 2 is me. I'm Drew. I have over 20 years in real estate now. I'm in the top 1% of all loan officers in the United States. I can lend in all 50 states. This is not a big commercial about me being a loan officer, though, but I just wanted to let you know the perspective that I'm coming from. When I speak about real estate, I mean residential real estate, okay? Gas stations and warehouses are all cool, but we usually talk about residential real estate, and that's what we're doing today. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram. There's my personal contact information if you ever want to reach out. We're giving a class today, but you can certainly call me. Everybody's scenario is different, so feel free to reach out, email in any way that you like. All right, so how hard is it to really buy a home right now? It's really hard, but it's not impossible. A couple of years ago, when rates were 2 and 3%, you had to jump. You had to bring 20,000, 50,000, 70,000 over asking price to even make an offer. Who can compete with that? Most people could. I couldn't on my first home. If that was the market, I wouldn't be able to do it, but now we can. But it's still very hard. So let me describe the setting that we have in America. The Federal Reserve did a study last year, and in that study, they showed that the average homeowner is worth $250,000. Good for them. But the average renter is worth $6,300. That's a huge gap. That's huge. That's like years. That gap is not going to be solved. If inflation gets back down in the twos tomorrow, this gap will not change tomorrow. It's going to take years for this to get better. So right now, it's really hard for somebody, especially a first-time home buyer, to buy a home right now. Income, affordability, the interest rate, it's all bringing downward pressure on people who are trying to get into real estate. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can get into real estate, then you get your net worth higher. I mean, this is kind of like a savings plan in a way. Your property values increase, maybe not every year, but overall it does. We've got a 5,000-year history in real estate. People always need to live somewhere. All right. So real estate is a very stable asset class. It's just difficult to get in. How about the advantages, though? What kind of advantage do we have right now if I'm out there buying a house? 45% of all sellers, meaning contracts that are in the pipeline. These are properties under contract. 45% of sellers are providing some type of concessions now. This was not the case a couple years ago. Sellers were giving nothing a couple years ago because they didn't have to. Now they are. Also, 33% of sellers are reducing their price to help incentivize people to purchase their home. You have the negotiating power if you have clients or if you yourself are a home buyer. Sellers are even buying down your interest rate. Oh, Andrew, the rate's high. Get the seller to buy it down. It's a real thing. Yes, because if you are buying a home, there's not many people buying a home right now. That means you have all the power. If the person that you're in front of does not want to negotiate on their property, there's 18 other properties right down the street that are willing to negotiate. If they're not willing to negotiate, go to another one. You can find good homes. Maybe not every single market has the same, every single street, but if you have a home that you can find that fits your needs, you've got all of the power to negotiate a better deal, including the interest rate. All right, I want to also set the stage about the benefits of owning a home. All right. So whenever we talk about benefits of home ownership, the most common thing that most articles talk about is the financial benefit. Okay. And it's good, right? I mean, I just referenced it, the Federal Reserve study. That's not the only benefit. If you know, did you know if you own a home, your divorce rate is 60% less than anybody who rents? If you own a home, your kids' test scores are better. If you own, you have a higher average income than somebody that rents. Crime rates lower in neighborhoods where the people own their homes. Lower teen pregnancy, really? Yes. Behavior, mental health, all of these things. Because guess what happens when you own a home? It creates stability for the family unit. So is it the home that creates all these great benefits? All right, maybe not. Maybe it's the stability of it. But that's it. It's the stability that's created for the families in home ownership. It's just not financial. What's the value of your kids having better test grades? There's no value to that. There's all these other ancillary things that we get when we own a home. If you are a homeowner and you're on this broadcast, you know what the feeling is like. The moment you walk into a house and it's yours, it's weird. It feels weird because it's yours. It's a weird sensation, but it's a good one. And if you can do it, you'll benefit in other ways, not just financial ways too. So what goes into purchasing a home? Now, 2 weeks, I covered about loans, but I just want to touch on it here today so we can talk about first-time home buyer programs, okay? So the things that go into buying a home in general, right? Generally speaking, in 99% of the cases, most of us need a loan, all right? That's why we're here, right? Because I don't have a $300,000 just laying around. Who's got that? Nobody. So we need a loan. Most people need a loan. When I get a loan, I need to show 3 basic things. I need to show income, credit, and my assets, right? If you can guess, income is your job. Can you pay the loan back that you're buying? Can you afford the home that you're purchasing? My credit, it doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be reasonable credit. But the asset thing is the biggest roadblock for most people. Remember that study I referenced earlier? The average renter has $6,300. So if the average home is worth $350 and my loan requires 3% down, that means my down payment alone is $10,500, and then I've got closing costs too. Yeah, you might need $20,000 just to buy a home. That's a crazy amount of money for a working class person to have. You got 2 working parents, they got 3 kids at home, $20,000? Forget it. I don't have that. And that's exactly why first-time homebuyer programs are around, okay? The federal government knows these studies that benefit family units. They know all the data to it. And they also know that people can't afford an entry-level home if you're an average person, or maybe even below average, if I can say it like that. If you're of moderate income or lower income, you need help. My first home I purchased with the first-time homebuyer program. I am a product of this, and there's no way I could have gotten started without it. And today I own 15 homes. You better believe that people can take this and use it in the right way. I don't mean the small, little, minute people who don't work the system well. I mean the good people who are working, who are honest. They need help, and this is how they get it. All right, so what exactly is a first-time home buyer program? Well, it's basically a government program that goes on top of a standard traditional mortgage, okay? So you don't just apply for that program. You still have to get approved for a traditional mortgage first. That income, credit, asset thing, that you get once you're approved for that mortgage, then you apply for the grant. So whenever I look at the differences in my market, there might be several different programs for me to choose from, but there also might be only one. Some cities restrict it too. Whenever I get a first-time homebuyer program, there's usually an exchange that I get. I get money to help me buy the home, but the catch is I might have a little bit higher interest rate. Yeah, that's possible. Or they might file a second lien on my home. Yeah, but not always. Sometimes they just give it to you for free. Every program is different. Every person is different too. Can you get a better loan if you just have $20,000 laying around? Sometimes no. Sometimes the grants give you a better loan even with no grant money. I've seen that. They just give a good interest rate. So there's lots of different ways that programs work, but usually there's a trade-off, usually. All right. Now, also, I just want to be clear. Most of these programs, I'm using the term first-time home buyer, most of them do require you to own your one, like this is your first home, but not in every case. In some programs, remember each program is a little different. Some programs don't require you to be a first-time home buyer. You can buy your second home or maybe even your third. Almost all of them, though, have some type of income restriction. And good, if you're a millionaire, there's no reason for you to get free money from the government, right? You're a millionaire. That's why there's income restrictions. And don't stress about this. Some of the incomes is county specific and median income. There's some studies and statistics, but some incomes are like $120,000 is the income limit. Some of them are $80,000. So it's not like the income is too restrictive for most. Some of them are kind of restrictive, but there's plenty of other good ones out there that the vast majority of us can qualify for. Okay, so the takeaway just from this slide, it comes from a program. You still got to qualify for the loan. Each program is a little different, but most of them will give you some sort of an exchange. I'm going to give you money. In exchange, you give me a higher rate type of thing. Okay, just remember, keep those things in mind. All right, let's give you an example. What goes into a grant if I get an FHA loan? All right, so a standard FHA loan requires 3.5% down payment. That's without the grant. Nothing else is needed. Like, hell, Andrew, I've got that. Cool. Then you don't need any of the grant money. That's what a standard FHA loan allows, 3.5% down. After I get that 3.5% down, let's say my grant provides me with 4% of assistance. All of these numbers are based on my purchase price of the home. So if my home was $350,000, 3.5% down payment that the FHA loan would require be $12,250. That's one cost that I have. The second cost that I have is closing costs. This is before I get my grant. Let's just for math, say my closing costs are 10 grand. All right, maybe they won't be 10, but I just want to keep the concept easy here, okay? So that means that my total amount of money that I need is $22,250. Okay, that's what I need. Now comes in the grant. My first time home, FTHB, first time home buyer grant gave me 4%. That's 14 grand. So I still need 8,250. Yeah, you still might need some money. This is how grants work. They may not cover the entire amount. That's why we have other things in place in your FHA loans that allow you to get more money. Okay, so when we go to negotiate with the seller in an FHA loan, they can give you seller concessions as well. Remember the very first slide where 45% of all transactions were giving seller concessions? The seller can cover the rest of that money. You got to negotiate. But like I said, the negotiating power is in your hand right now. You have the ability to negotiate and get those costs. This program might come with a higher rate, as we discussed. Let's see here. It might be in the form of a second loan on your home, right? That's how it, or it might be totally free. It's important to know that there's several different ones, and one of these might fit you a little bit better than the other ones. Now, I wanted to give you some actual examples of a first-time home buyer program, so I'm going to give you some screenshots here, okay? I don't want to get the name out here just in case we talk about them, but this one particular program gives a 30-year loan with a deferred repayable second lien. Okay, I'll explain. So the grant they give you on the screen, it's either 2 percentage points, 3 percentage points, or 4 percentage points of a grant. If I take 4%, my interest rate is 6.375. Okay, I hope you're tracking with me on it. However, if I do have some money saved up, or maybe I got the seller to negotiate with me a little bit, and I only need 3 percentage points, that's 3% of a grant, my interest rate is better. the less money for this program that I take, the lower my payment is monthly, the better the interest rate is. This grant needs to put a second lien on your home. So you have two mortgages. However, this second lien goes away after 10 years. You don't make monthly payments to it. It goes away if you stay in the home long enough. If you don't stay in the home long enough, you pay the grant money back when you sell. So over time, your home will appreciate in value. So don't freak out about this. This is just how it operates. So as your home appreciates, it's worth more and more and more. So if you sell a little early, you pay back the grant, you get the difference, all right? It gets you in the home. Remember that very first or second slide we talked about? The average homeowner is worth $250,000. That's the equity. A lot of that is equity. So if I have to pay back 10 or 12,000 out of my equity, it's usually okay as long as I'm aware of it. If it gets me in the home now when I could not have gotten in the home, maybe it's worth it. Just take it with a grain of salt, right? So things to be aware of whenever I get a grant. I do not lock the rate until the very end of my mortgage. On a traditional mortgage, I lock the rate in the very beginning, and I lock it for 30 days. With the grant money, it's not like that. With a grant, you still get your FHA loan or your conventional loan or your VA loan, and then they lock it at the very end. Why is that important? Your rate might slightly change towards the end. The other thing that's kind of nervous for me to say, but I want you to be aware, these funds can run out. Yeah, I've seen it happen. Grant money can go away. Remember, this is government money. Sometimes it's state money. Sometimes it's federal. It can go away. It usually takes longer to close, and they almost always require some type of first-time home buyer class for you to take, so you know what goes into home ownership. And I've taken the class. It's actually really good. It's not bad. And it's usually free, so it's not that big of a deal. If it's your first time, I kind of welcome it. I wish people would have shown me what went into home ownership when I bought my first home. They did not. So the class is not a bad thing. I almost think it's a good thing. Now I want to show another screenshot. Now this is a little bit smaller font, but hang tight with me. So this is a totally separate program that I want you to see. As you can see on this one, they have government loans, which are FHA and VA loans. And the second section is conventional. Andrew, why are the government loans blank? That's the market right now. Remember I said some of these will run out of money? They don't have any government grants. They don't have any. Ugh. The only grant money that they have is in this second section. And look at those rates. 7.65. Ooh, that's kind of nervous looking. Yeah, sometimes grants don't work as well when they run out of funds. Just be aware of it. I don't want this to discourage you. I just need you to be aware and talk to your lenders and real estate agents about it. So let's do a quick do and don't. I know we're flying through this, but this is designed to get you some concepts, all right? Maybe take 2 or 3 things away from this talk, and that way you can talk to your agent or your loan officer about it. So what to do? Let's work with a real estate agent. Andrew, I can't afford a realtor. You don't pay it. You don't pay the real estate agent. You're the buyer. You don't pay it. The listing person pays your agent. It's already been decided and negotiated before you even came around. For me to put a home on the market, I have to agree to pay an agent. Yeah, you don't pay the realtor. It's free. Work with a real estate agent. Get pre-qualified. It should be free to get pre-qualified. Plan ahead, meaning like, hey, if my lease runs up in 6 months, now's the time to start planning on it. Because it might take you 2 or 3 months to find a home. Yeah, it might. Plan ahead and just save money. Remember that very first example I mentioned? Even if the grant money gave me money, I might need $8,000. What happens if you find the perfect home and the seller's not willing to negotiate? Save money. The more money you have, even if you don't use it, you'll at least have it just in case you do. All right, here's what not to do. Don't pre-choose a program. What if they ran out of money? Okay, talk with your lender first. Don't feel pressure. This is not a pressure scenario. We want you to feel comfortable about what you're doing. No one should make you feel pressured into doing anything. This is your home. Don't open any credit things new. Keep everything stable. Once you get into your pre-qualified status, we want to keep you right where you are so we know that you can close. And don't forget about seller concessions. Even if you don't have enough money, Negotiate with those sellers right now. All right. That's it. That was 22 minutes. It flew by, right? Every 2 weeks we do this. And don't worry, if you want to ask questions now, you can take yourself off mute, but I'll give one last plug. In 2 weeks, we're going to do this again. Every 2 weeks, I do some type of topic in real estate. And next week, I'm going to just do a quick one on like a market update type of thing. So if you have any questions, take yourself off mute. Now's the time to talk. And if not, we can certainly end the broadcast now. And thanks to everybody for being here.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ashley. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ashley. Yes. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you. It was a very informative session. I appreciate it.
Very
So,
well.
what's it going? I have a particular situation. So, I moved to the US from Jamaica about 2.5 years ago. Legally been working since December of 2021.
Okay.
And so I'm running into, when I look into it, because, I have a good steady job, I make good income, my husband as well. And the only thing that seems to be holding me back is this 2-year US work history. Do you know of any programs that have a workaround for that requirement that I could look into?
Yes. Okay. Actually, the short answer is yes. There's lots of different loan programs. Sometimes some places don't have all the options. Okay. Don't hold it against them that nobody's shown you a program about that. But yes, you can absolutely get a loan today, right now. And if you want, since it's personal, like it's your personal scenario, let's jot down my email or my phone number and just call me, and I can share with you what it looks like. And then you can decide if it's something you're interested in. Okay.
Okay, that sounds great. When is a good time to call you?
You can call me right after this class is over.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to talk through today? All right, then we'll call it. Call me separately if you want to discuss anything offline. Certainly here to help. And if not, maybe we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for attending this edition of the Drew 2. Talk soon.
Thank you.